is a story that's going to make you choke. Yet another one. The air, you see, you say get outside and get some good fresh air.
Yeah, fresh air.
There may be a lot in that, because the air inside in your home, in your office, could be poisoning you. It could be 5 times more lethal than any sort of contamination that you would get outside.
Activities such as cooking, would you believe, cleaning and heating release high levels of carbon monoxide.
Now, with us, the man who's going to tell you all about this is Professor Nick Munro. Poor quality air. Nick, how bad is it? What can it lead to?
Well, morning. I might say there's hope, so one needs to focus on being informed rather than necessarily alarmed. But where you have poor quality air, and that can be air that has too much particulate in it, too much carbon dioxide in it, or too many chemicals, then those do impact on health. And so understanding what the air quality is at any one time is important, in order that you can then make decisions about what you do to mitigate that, whether that is simple stuff, open a window, for instance, or more complex stuff, like manage the system in a building to optimise the air quality.
Oh, Nick, where do we begin? Well, I suppose we begin with what you're talking about. But look, if you talk about, say you go into a home or an office, whatever, and the air's stagnant in it, what's the first thing you do? You lift a freshener and go...
Or you light a scented candle if you're at home and it smells. You light a scented
candle, Or you plug something into the wall.
Or you're cold and you put the log burner on.
So are you worried about all those things?
All of the above.
Yeah.
Indeed so. And the thing is that smell can be can cause us to make decisions, but actually smell can disguise the quality of the air. So air fresheners, for instance, and you spray that aerosol or whatever, and immediately it's going to smell nicer. But the reality is that what you've put into the air is a pollutant. And actually, do we understand that? And do we understand the impacts of that? Probably not quite as well as we need to. And therefore, whether it's that air freshener, whether it's that scented candle, do you reach for that, or do you first reach for the window?
Well, you say do you reach for the window. I mean, a huge number of our audience will live out in the countryside, lovely big gardens, lots of trees. But then there's the other group of us who live in cities, and I think of myself, I live on a junction, and there's idling cars outside my house 50% of the time. My kids are sitting watching TV and I have the window open, they're breathing in idling fumes. I'd rather have the window closed, but you're telling me the air inside could also be bad. So what do I do in that scenario?
Well, I mean, there are big fixes there, for instance, and long-term fixes with regard to the air that's being polluted outside by those engines that are idling. And even, I think there was a piece recently, just the other day, about ice cream vans that sit there with their diesel engines chugging over.
Whilst the kids at the height of the exhaust are queuing up.
Yeah. Well, those things need to change.
Absolutely.
And we know that there are changes that are happening there, but those are not overnight changes.
But I know you say to inform rather than to alarm. Right, so I'm queuing up for my 99. Really, in that minute and a half or so that I do that, am I going to be harmed in any way?
Well, potentially, yeah, because what comes out the back end of an ice cream van is unpleasant, dangerous, and can cause harm, and that kind of harm is cumulative. So if you sit there with regard to, if you continue to ingest the particulates that are coming out of the ice cream van, then you will have a long-term problem.
Such as what, like dementia?
It can cause all kinds of different outcomes in truth.
Give us some examples.
Well, the one that you just picked on is a good one, for sure. So there are some things there that it's important to be motivated to fix. Let's not use the word alarm, but actually it's important to step towards fixing those matters. And if we understand them, and that's increasingly where we are, and if we have standards and regulation that control them, and that's likewise increasingly where we're getting to, then there's hope that we can have the right outcome. But understanding comes first. What
about those air purifiers that are on the market? I think Dyson does one, there are other ones available, hugely costly, but do they actually work?
Yeah, some of them are very effective, but again, do you understand and do you have the information to...
No.
There you go.
No, because you see, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking an air freshener's good, all the things that I put in my life.
Candles.
My car's going to smell nice, my house is going to smell nice. and then all the foul things that I think I'm getting away from. Is there any air that's pure, my friend? Is there any air? We're sitting in the studio. People clean the table with Mr. Whatever it is, or other brands are available. You know, cleaning surfaces, vacuuming things. Is our air not just? Is that not just a risk? All air is polluted. No?
Well, to a certain extent. I mean, if you fly home to Belfast and you go a little bit north of there, then you're going to find some of the sweetest and cleanest air in the country.
Am I really?
You are indeed, yeah.
Where are we calling you, Eamon?
Well, I think if you were going up to Ballyvaughan, for instance, and so on, then you would find very clean air in those sort of locations. But we don't all live in those circumstances, and neither can we. So in cities where you have terrific reasons to be, whether it's economic, cultural, education, whatever, that's where we all exist. And that's the future of sustainability, for instance, in truth.
OK. Professor, I've got to interrupt you. We've got to take a break. Really lovely to get your take on all of this. Thanks very much indeed,
pleasure.
Professor Nick Munro.
I'm not even going to take a deep breath in case I poison myself. But as you say, be informed rather than alarmed about these things.
Yeah.
Will that change? Would you do let us know. Stay with us. We're going to bring you the latest.